last week, some updates from done about Jan team. Jasmine talked about the big scripts. Think so. I remember a demo about the big scripts. The date. Today. We have demos. No demos. We will have topics.
I would have one about the hosting situation of the website and try AutoroutePart.
Thing. End status. Orchard 1. What's new since last week? This one on the next reverting breaking change to enumeration field. So there used to be a change in how the enumerations were stored. It broke too many things. So it's been reverted. Then Orchard, I don't use, okay, Orchard Core. Where were we? What's there? Oh no, I don't want to use that. So I want to update. What's there? 21st done, 22nd update and KDocs. There is another branch. Simplify the login and the login form views. Simplify. Login form edit and okay. What's the difference between the two views? This is
It's so that login form edit is contained within login.cshtml, as can be other contributing templates, shape template.
shape. Login form edit. Login HR. Why do we put HR? Okay. Well. Okay, so like said, it's simple. Unify separator in script and flag editor. Okay, we saw that last week. Would handle string values conversion to Jint. But the first time we see that, but now it's added to Jint. I think it reached it last week. String value can have one value or multiple values. So if there is just one value, we convert it to a string. If there are multiple values, we say it's an array. Okay. Remove localizer from system roles. We discussed that, we didn't want that, and then the tests were updated. Here we said, let's not translate that. This will be used by dynamic localization instead. Update documentation for display mode, shape type. There was some ambiguity because it was not. It is a display type, but there was some ambiguity. So this one was correct display type. But what it was actually looking for was not what was written here. That's fixed now. The auto setup, this is an old one. When it is uninitialized, responsive is status code 503. And iLogger options. Updated. So what does 503 mean? Service unavailable. Server is temporarily unable to handle the request. I auto setup service. This is also some refactoring, so we can reuse that thing. Success. Good, not success. Let's return 503. Okay. And on the new contributor. So add SendAsync extension method to ISmsService. Add SendAsync extension method. Extension method, SendAsync. Someone's message. Okay. Liquid.Core Services. Oh boy. What is that? Add liquid views deprecated. State management. Liquid.Core Services. There is no verb here. So what is this commit about? Liquid.Core Services. Add Liquid.Core Services. So this thing has been moved to add Liquid.Core Services. Liquid.Core Services. So I'm confused. So this is the same thing. Add liquid views. Stays. Add Liquid.Core Services. Liquid.Core Services. Use extension method, but not in an extension method class. Liquid.Core Services. And that contains that, not that. Add global feature. Okay, so there is a new feature. There is a new feature. Yeah, the issue it stayed. It was stayed for some time because when I see the PR here, even looking at the changes, Liquid.Core Services, it doesn't say what it does and why it needs to do it. And even looking at the code, it's not obvious. You see here what's the reason of this PR.
So I'll summarize because I followed that PR. So before we had a method, an extension that's called add something liquid views, I think, that would register the services, the core services for liquid. And I don't exactly know why, because that's what happened when a PR sits for so long, we forget all the details. But instead of doing it this way, we register these in a core service, and this core service is now always enabled because we need the core services for Liquid and Orchard. So now on the startup, we automatically ensure that the core services feature is enabled instead of using the extension. And then there's different startups to separate when we include other things. Like when there's a resources, he moved the filter, the resource, only when the resources is available. And if there's a HTML, that one is available only when that module is available, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit more separated. It doesn't really add a whole lot of value, but that's a summary of the PR. So you'll see that new feature, it's always enabled. And if you scroll down, you'll see how it's available or enabled globally.
I don't think that's valid though. So supported culture, for instance, okay? It's a filter that will display the supported culture. So let's look at the implementation. It's cool because I have also button here. I prepared. But maybe we would have to use that. So this is supported culture says that culture, well, what does it do? to allow you to get the list of supported culture is an example. Okay, supported culture. So I look at the implementation. Implementation, where is that? Oh, so I'm stupid. This one, supported culture.
This one is obsolete.
Wait, yeah, so supported culture filter. Okay, sorry. It used to be so now we should change the documentation then, because the documentation hasn't been changed. So this is wrong. It's possible that we missed that. Okay, so this is wrong. It doesn't exist anymore. We changed that to culture.
No, this is not wrong. This is for 2.0. We shouldn't change it. Because look at the documentation, looking at 2.0. As of 2.0, that existed. So leave that.
Okay, that's okay. Sorry. So supported culture. So what did I see in the PR then?
He's just moving when these classes are registered. So he's only saying here, register that only if that orchard.core.localization feature is also enabled. Otherwise, we don't want to register it.
Okay. Still, this is 3.0 code that will run in 3.0 because we keep it, even if it's deprecated, we keep it because people are using it and we are telling them you should use a new one. But this is still there. And I just want to see if it's still working now with this change. So supported culture is a filter that is there, that is registered. Okay, even if it's deprecated, it is registered and will be used. And you see here, it's doing ISmsService. ISmsService is a service that we register. I just want, maybe I'm wrong, but there is a default localization service that will do what? Default culture, supported culture, and this one is registered in add default services in Orchard Core. It's not registered when we only have the localization feature. Okay, anyone can use the localization feature will provide more stuff, but that is usable even if this localization feature is not enabled, because maybe you want to know what's the supported culture even if there is no localization feature. What's the current supported culture? Let's say you have a site and you're like, I will display whatever the only single culture is, the default culture, and it will render that. Because we might make some modules that can't expect the localization feature to be there, but they still want to know what is the culture of the site. Okay? So maybe we want that even though this is not enabled. So we have to be careful when we say, oh, let's move it to just when this feature is enabled, because yeah, in this case, I don't think we should just enable it when this feature is enabled. Let's say 90% of the users will have this feature enabled when they code that. Maybe we have a feature or a view that is using that and doesn't depend on that, because there is a default iLocalization service in Orchard that is usable, and this thing is using it.
We should find out when that was marked obsolete and just remove it.
So no, it's not a question about obsoleting. It is obsolete correctly, and I remember when we did that, it is when we decided to have to change how it is registered in Liquid. So as this thing is explaining here, we used to have a filter, and I say, no, this is not a filter because it doesn't use the input. This should be a property on the culture. And we changed that in 3.0. Yes, there is a new property. But when we obsolete something, we still keep it working. We say, use the new way, culture.supported culture, but the old way still works until we decide to remove it. It hasn't been decided to remove it. People today are using it. When they migrate to 3.0, they will be using it and they will have to upgrade at some point. But before this PR, this was working. Now the issue is what is broken is because of that thing here, the required feature. Now this is broken for some reason. And I think I'm not talking about obsoleting this or not. I'm just saying moving this line from something that was always run to only if this feature is enabled is breaking the feature. And now, same thing with that thing. So I first thought about it when I looked at this one, not even this one. So now it's proven that it's broken because you could use that even if you don't have the feature. In the same way, the properties, the new property supported culture. So let's see. Supported culture. Now we have a custom liquid thing. You see this new thing, supported culture. Culture.supported culture. I'm pretty sure you can call it anytime, even if the localization feature is not enabled. Let's check. If it's not the case, then I'm wrong either because it should be, or I'm wrong because we can move it in this PR. But one or the other is wrong here. So where is the liquid value, the culture value? It must be a class called culture value. Culture value, and culture value is defined display management.liquid. You see, it's defined in display management.liquid. It doesn't require the localization feature. It's a service that is available always in Orchard. When we enable localization feature, it's a different implementation that will use settings, but there is a default implementation that returns the current language. And this is available all the time. So this PR here, this change is wrong. This should be enabled. This should be registered the same way as this thing is registered in the display management liquid. Okay. So this one also, sanitize HTML. Let's see. Maybe this thing requires this feature. Does it though? Because I'm like, maybe we can sanitize HTML. I don't know what this feature provides. If it's just fields, then it's wrong because we need to be able to sanitize HTML even if we don't use HTML fields, like maybe we have other things. But let's see. So sanitize HTML. So I don't have it. So what do I have here? What version? I don't have main. Oh no, I don't have main. So I have before the change. So it was here and it was in there. So now the implementation is there. It was in display management liquid filters. Display management liquid. It's using HTML sanitizer service, which is defined in the infrastructure abstraction. Where is the implementation? In infrastructure. We don't need this feature to be able to use sanitize HTML. Okay, again, will potentially break people who are using sanitize HTML and don't have this feature enabled. Sure, maybe we always enable this feature, but don't have to have this feature to run that. So this doesn't make sense. This could be invoked in the
And
same.
also, if we needed that, if we needed that to be the sanitized HTML filter to depend on the HTML, then it should be registered in the HTML directly.
Yeah,
not here.
so yeah, that's why I checked
Yeah.
where it is registered. So that's why it's
That's
risky
true.
to say we depend on that. Verify that this actually requires that. Or if it should require that, like, oh, I'm using a service that should only be registered in that thing, like, okay. Resources, okay, probably like app version and resource URL definitely needs this thing because this is something that is only in this module. It's not in infrastructure. But these two ones, I just proved that they run without the feature. And they might be used without the feature because maybe this feature is just about providing fields. I can still sanitize HTML even if I don't have these fields, but it's a service that is available outside of this feature. So same thing for localization. I can use that without localization. It won't matter in the next version when we remove this filter, for sure, but 3.0, we didn't say we will remove this feature. We are making it obsolete. So feedback on this one. Going back to the status. That's also this discussion is related to how to get feedback. like, yeah, this PR didn't get this feedback I just gave before. So no worries. And how do you force people to give feedback is by putting stuff into their face. So I saw that in the thing. So I looked into it and I had comments on that. We'll get feedback on the admin menu when it's in their face. Same thing. If we don't, because people are busy and they don't look at everything. So we might miss something until it's in our face. But we still have time to write. That's okay. Next, avoid cloning the AutoroutePart pattern in localized content. Avoid cloning the AutoroutePart pattern. Localized content. So, same pattern here, configure. So we say that we provide this handler only with this feature, content localization, AutoRoute content localization. Sounds correct. Where is it removed from? Oh, it's a new thing? Okay. Content localization handler, which must run when we localize a content item, like clone it for a new thing. We say localizing, and it says if the content localized has an AutoroutePart, new, I see. So by setting it to null, so I like this comment because we understand what's the goal of this thing. By setting it to null, I see. So this contains actual route based on the pattern. And when we set the value, we don't try to regenerate it. We keep the value. Like if you set it manually or if the pattern of the AutoRoute has been applied. By setting it to null, we are forcing other handlers to regenerate the route because the values might depend on the translated things. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, when we localize some items, some things need to be remain constant across localizations, and some things need to be localized. Okay. So this one can automatically be localized. Fix null exceptions with filter. Okay. Pixel ID. Tracking ID. Take dependencies, date. And then yeah, I mean, how do you trigger that thing?
Just enable the feature because by default, that
It's
settings
empty by
there's
default.
no
Ah, crap.
correct,
Just
and
enable the
then you'll
feature.
have that problem, and then you'll
Oh
break everything.
boy, how is it possible? Should be a functional test for that. Oh man. Okay, typogram in new system. Tutor. separator. Separator. Is a test. It's funny. The test was working, right? Beautiful.
Yeah, it correctly verified the wrong
Yeah.
result.
You know, so I have the thing here open, and we have some tests. Show you some tests. Have something like that. imagine, so we have some tests that check that we have this content correctly generated. And what I do is that when I want to see the test, if I do some changes, I run the test, I let it fail, I copy the result, and I say, assert that it's the same here. And I believe that's what happened. That thing. Switch. Like, let's generate the content, and it's passing because it's passing. So it must be good. But that's weird though, because how do you come up with such things? A CSP security header application. So let me look at the PR. Maybe you are linking to the Docker. Thank you. So let me see syntax. Semicolon. The same time it's things. Okay, that's weird, but okay. Cool. Okay. CSP. And why do we have to parse them?
Why do you have to what? Sorry.
To read those values. Where do we read them? Why?
This is not something that happens in Object Core, but you know, this is also for the browsers. So first of all, it wasn't really valid there. But where I noticed this is that I wanted to extend or rather merge these directives from a different middleware, pretty much. And then it turned out that well, this is using commands, but it really shouldn't.
Okay. Show error message if permission names are not unique because multiple features could provide the same permission name. And. Oh boy, you don't want to do that. Why do you do that? Oh no. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Are you crazy?
It's actually AI generated, I must admit.
Now we will have to update this page every time we do a change.
Yeah.
Okay. We ping you whenever there is a change on the.
But if you write a new permission, you have to actually check if the name is already taken.
Yeah. Okay.
And this makes it a little bit easier.
So one less DB. And then when you go to edit the roles, then you would see a big alert. Hey, buddy, you have conflicting permissions. Be careful. Fix your feature, your code, or disable one thing that could be dangerous.
And there's also a log message on startup.
And it's logged because people might not go to this page without seeing. So on startup, apparently, where is that? Startup.
In the Orchard Core Builder extension.
Here. Configure. Configure. That works. It's a weird way, but that works. All good. Beautiful. Hello. Execute after end of request async to accept arguments. Execute after end of request async. One, two, three, or four arguments. Or five. Job. Sure. Okay, so if we pass. So there is another way. There is another way. So it's just from what I see. The pattern I see usually is that instead of having whatever thing you have there, you can do that. You just say state, then you say tstate. That's it. I think a command pattern. Example, when you use the method create string.create, okay, and you want to create a string based on some state. They don't have like T1, T2, T3 and arguments or whatever. It's just called state. Okay. This way, tstate can be a tuple or how many properties you want, or a custom class. It can be anything. So if you want to pass two values, then you would just don't. So we wrote it this way then. So add name. You say item 1, item 2, or let's say food bar, and then here well, don't do that this way. You say, what was it? Shell scope. Scope state, and then you have job dot, you have state, and you can access dot foo and state dot bar, or whatever, how you constructing your tuple using C# or C#, whatever, or if it's just an object, the property of the object. Okay, and this way you just have one method, and that can handle anything there. That's how it's done. Example, a string dot create see tstate and span action char and tstate, generate an tstate. That's a command pattern. Again, when it's in your face, can we provide feedback?
Yeah, but if you do it in the async methods, you always have to box the value types and or have to allocate another object.
Decide. Because this for me, yeah, cares. Is it even? I don't think so, because it's generic. Where is the boxing? Because it's generic. I don't think there is any boxing or unboxing. Nope, I
No,
don't
it
think so.
creates a closure and then
Nope.
it has
It
to.
won't. It won't. There is no async at all here. There is no closure at all here. If you have var,
So if you pass it
oh,
to the.
even that there is no, and usually that's also a pattern that is used to prevent closures, because here you can put static here. There is no closure at all because the state is passed as an argument, whatever the type is. That's also a way to prevent closures, to use a state object that you pass in the lambda, and you can provide a T or an object there in the definition. That's how we do to prevent closures. Yeah, so I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. That fixes hiding the no results message in the features list. George can even do CSS.
No, I can't.
No,
That's JavaScript.
well,
JavaScript
you can manipulate
also
CSS
cannot do
properties
JavaScript.
in JavaScript.
I can see curly braces.
No, it's not even CSS. It's, sorry, it's DOM HTML DOM. Sorry, I saw. I don't know why. I saw
It's a
that.
jQuery.
Is it? Are we still? Is it still
Actually,
jQuery?
it's only the curly brace. I don't.
Yeah, that
do
is
this stuff.
jQuery.
Could we do that without jQuery now?
Sure.
Are you sure that this dollar here? So this dollar is always jQuery. Oh yes, because now it's like.
Well, the $ is jQuery.
Yeah. Okay.
You could have replaced it with document.query all, and that would find the same thing.
What was the name? I don't. Maybe I'm old, right? I may be the oldest here. Sorry. I remember a video in 2006, maybe, when jQuery was created. 5, 6, 7, maybe. Of a kid. Like, I think he had a Russian name, and he was like 13 or 14, and he gave a conference talk about jQuery, explaining how it works and everything. It was amazing that time. Yeah, what was his name? I need to find the video and send it to you. It was amazing to see it. I wonder what he's doing now. Okay, so what did he do? The hiding stuff, adding that, and then there. Okay.
No.
He's just applying that logic every time.
Yeah. It's just one curly brace that moved.
Yeah. Everything. That's the only thing you do. Okay. Nice. Hold on. So what do we have now? Expressions, comments, topics.
I have a question. No, Zoltan, I think he has a demo, right?
A topic about the whole website hosting, yes.
Go ahead.
Right. Let me share. This might have gone under the radar, except for specific maintainers, because, well, it mostly happened in the private repository of the website. So we are talking about OrchardCore.net, and actually also try OrchardCore. So you may not know, just as I didn't actually know for quite a while. Both of these applications, both of these websites, and there are two separate applications, two separate solutions as well. Try OrchardCore is actually open source. These run under the Azure subscription of .NET Foundation. This has been going on for a while, and it works. There are two issues though. We have limited access to that subscription, so we can't, for example, create certain kind of automation because we can't create, how is it called? Not service principals, but something similar for something like an automated deployment or an automated swap between a staging and production environment. So a while ago, oh, sorry, this issue is about that. So a while ago, I started to look into that, and what made this more urgent is that quite recently, Antoine, who was the only person having access to that Azure environment, Antoine lost access for some reason. It just happened at one point. So now we don't have access, nobody has access to the Azure environment of either of our websites. So something needs to be done. That's issue one. And the second one is that actually we all have to do something with OrchardCore.net because that's currently managed by and paid for by Antoine as well. This has been an ongoing discussion with .NET Foundation in email. We got a reply finally from somebody a couple of weeks ago, because I think that the domain should be under the ownership of DNF. So I think we'll fix this, but the more pressing issue is fixing the hosting. So we need to do something. If you are a maintainer and interested in this discussion, please join in here. If you don't see this for some reason, let me know on Discord or something, and I will sort out permissions. But currently, what I would suggest is the following, and please let me know what you think. We could host the website on .NET. So the website currently doesn't have any custom C# code. It has Liquid. It uses mostly Liquid for the theme and for admin edited templates. Furthermore, it has a single layout of CSS HTML that can be just migrated to Liquid. Otherwise, it only has some redirects in the web config, which can, of course, be instead done with the URL rewriting module. And at this point, we will have the hosting secured for the foreseeable future. Secondly, we can also do the same thing for OrchardCore. That's a bit more complicated. And while with the website, community oversight would completely remain, that's not true for OrchardCore. Because with the website, there will still be this repository that we are seeing here. The code would be still here. .NET would be just varied runs. With OrchardCore, since there is C# code, there needs to be C# code. This would need to be pretty much incorporated into the solution of .NET, which is a private code base, and we intend to keep it private. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any branding, but still, at this point, this would just be managed by Lombiq. So the questions are, what does everyone think? Do you have any better suggestions here? Because of course, another option would be to create a new Azure subscription, new Azure Enter ID tenant, what I actually started to do. But that has quite a hefty cost compared to what we would actually utilize. So what do you think? We definitely need to do something because currently the website is on 1.8. We can't upgrade it. If anything breaks, we can't do anything. So it's I'm a bit uneasy about that because for now it's good, but if anything is not good, then it will be catastrophic.
Can you share your portal to check the access to the .NET Foundation subscription. I can share mine if you want to show you, and if you want to drive me on how to do that, because I see you and I added you on Benedict.
Okay, please take over, because I haven't checked it recently, but I checked at the time and I didn't see
because
anything.
we have experts in the room between Antoine, Mike, you, myself. I don't know for George and James if you have Azure experience, but this is. And
Yeah, I don't see it, by the way.
What? You don't see what?
I still don't see this this subscription or any resource here.
Okay, so maybe I need to do something else, but we'll see. So I will show you what I have. So I am on the subscription for the .NET Foundation. Okay, I'm on my Microsoft account. I see all the resources in this subscription, okay, that I recently used. And so you see, this is the subscription, the .NET Foundation sponsorship. I have the Orchard Sites resource group. Don't understand something, just ask me. And in this resource group, what do we have? We have, so you see, and old stuff also, like gallery Orchard Porch, which is the gallery for Orchard 1. So this is something that we still need to run. That OrchardCore.net, which is the website, a founder CM profile, so a proxy which will do some caching, probably. And point for the CDN, application site, everybody's looking at it. Orchard.net, which is the old site, I believe. Try Orchard Core, which is a try.orchardcore. Good. So this is in this resource pool. And maybe I should try differently, but in the access control, if I check for assignments, you will be able to find result done here, user as a contributor. And I believe I can't add you as an owner, but the contributor should at least give you full access to manage all resources, but does not allow you to assign roles to your RBAC. Okay, so you should be able to do anything. The only difference with the owner is that you can also then grant other access, but contributor should be fine. So result time, you have access to this resource. And I also did that for Benedict, and I did that. Worst case, I did that before, like when you have like in June, but I checked with Benedict during August. So you have Benedict also has access to this resource, and this is a resource group. So I believe it should provide it to anything else, because if I go there.
And Antoine too, by the way?
Antoine, I believe, because no. So Antoine doesn't have it. I can add Antoine. Antoine, do you want to be added?
Yes, I was. I had the right to see it a few years ago.
So, but you're not there anymore. I don't think I will.
No.
I will add you. Just add the assignment. Contributor.
You should also check the enter ID tenant, because I think this can happen if you don't have access to that. You know, we don't need any.
Yeah, so I will check
access.
whatever we can. Yeah, so contributor. Why don't I see contributor? Then I need to say next. Group, select members, search Antoine. What's your email?
Agrifar@outlook.com.
See. Please. Something. That should work. That's how. Okay, let's click on here. We'll check later. That's why I can't find anything here. What I want to check is if I go on resource back here, I take, for instance, AutoroutePart. Should inherit the permission. Detect contributor inherited from the resource group. So that works. Just assigning to resource group is sufficient to have it on the thing here. And if I go there, overview, I will copy this link and I will paste it in the chat. So Zoltan, here's something I did with Benedict. At least it's not, you can't, even if you can't navigate to it by browsing things, a direct link should let you access it. So it will tell us if you get a permission.
Now. It seems it's creating my entry ID entry or whatever now.
In the meantime, I will stop sharing because I want to open another page, but I need to go through some private stuff before. So once again, I'm stopping share and I'm going where I want to go to show you what's related to that also, which I did recently because I found it by chance. I wasn't looking for that, but I found something by chance. Where is that? Found it. And I can share again. So what I found is an Azure DevOps project for the AutoroutePart website, which has some pipelines on it, which I believe Antoine created, because Antoine has access to it. You see, this is how the website is deployed. Last deployment this year. So you have access to it, and I added recently only because I completely forgot about it. I was just browsing all the Azure DevOps roles I had access to, and I saw Option. I'm like, hey, what is that? If I go to project settings, where do I see the users, the permissions? Oh, it was there. You could see Antoine, 2 accounts, and then people having access to that. And I added Zoltan and Benedict. So I will share this URL also in the chat, or Zoltan/Benedict/Antoine, or anyone who would like to be there, just to see if you can access that to manage the deployments. So probably just that will just allow to deploy anything on the websites that are on the portal, because it must have the service connections to be able to deploy something. And that might be sufficient because we just create the service connections to the Azure resources and just run this thing. You can then say what to deploy and when on this app service.
I can now see Azure, so that fixed it. Thank you. I can also actually see.
What do you mean by the fix? What do you mean by fixed it? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you fixed it by sharing this URL, because without opening a specific URL like this,
You
I
can't
wasn't
access
part
it.
of
Okay.
the enter ID,
But
and I
that's
couldn't access anything.
And pretty sure something I gave Benedict during harvest just to see if we could access, and it was stuck still. Okay, no, that's good. So you have access to the resources, and do you have access to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That just worked.
So do you want you will be able to make some progress or to have more things to add to the issues? And
I'll check this out since
try.
Well, I didn't know this.
So you can play with it and let us know if it's better.
Okay, thanks. I will check this out.
Anything.
I will try stopping the website and see what happens.
You can. If you can restart it after, that's fine. Don't touch the gallery and do other thing. But no, I mean, that's simple. It's just an app service. So worst case, we go there, you can access the kudu thing, the serial console, everything, and do the stuff. So that's quite standard. Yeah. It's all good. Did you have a topic, Mike? Question? I don't remember.
Just a question for the people in this group, because they are using Orchard all the time and they are in here all the time. So that the PR that I put in the chat, if you want to open it, Sebastian, please. Well, that's true. You just don't use it, but still will value your opinion. So for this PR, does anyone here have objection into merging this? We went through a lot of talk about this PR, and I'm wondering if anyone here has objection into merging this. Antoine, James, I think you're the only two that I haven't heard from you about this.
I haven't took a serious look at it, but
it's complicated.
Antoine.
Don't look now because we need a few hours.
Yeah, the idea is just we're redesigning the menu to new placement, reorganizing how it looks. Antoine, what do you think? You are a UI person, or you have your own ideas about UIs? Any objection into merging it?
There's a
No.
flag.
No,
My comment
don't mind.
a comment is we put it in the face of the users. If they complain, we can say, okay, the new default flag, the new flag for default or whatever value is the old one, because too many people complain about the change. There is no traction if you don't put the thing in the face of the people. Either way, like good or bad. So
Maybe as a translator, I could complain that we have to change some string translations on crowding.
keep the old ones because the old ones are still there. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe that's what some people will complain about. We'll see. We'll tell them you have to translate.
All right, so you're saying go ahead and merge it and let's see what people come back with?
Yep.
Zoltan, you okay with that?
I don't oppose.
Okay. Thank you.
Yay.
Cool. Okay. End of the meeting. See you on Thursday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank
See
you.
you.